The 17th Amendment cut one of our founders' most profound checks and balances. That is the check and balance between the state legislatures and the U.S. Senate. The way it worked was we, the people, would elect our House of Representatives, which our founders called the House of the People. Then we, the people, would elect our state representatives, who had the right and the responsibility in that particular state to vote for their own U.S. Senator. So as it functioned, the legislation would go from the House of Representatives over to the Senate. And then the Senate would then consider the legislation based upon what their state legislators told them. So if it was going to protect state rights, protect personal liberties, and control the national government, then chances are this legislation would be okayed or passed. And so if it came out of the government, if it came out of the Congress, it would be the state and people-friendly legislation that the president would pass. So the benefits are that the state's rights are protected, the personal liberties are protected, and it controlled the national growth of government. Another benefit is that the president has many appointments to make, and also many treaties that he has negotiated with other countries, and judges that he has to nominate, either Supreme Court or federal judges. And all these three things, appointments, treaties, and judges, have to go before the U.S. Senate. So if the U.S. Senate has to ask the state legislators what they think of the appointments, treaties, and judges, then you know that it's going to have states' rights and personal liberties in mind. So one of the things that the 17th Amendment did was it cut the right and responsibility of the state legislators to vote for the U.S. senators, and it gave it to the people, which initially you would think would be a good thing. However, statewide campaigns are very expensive, and so campaign contributors and special interest groups from all across the country would be corrupting these statewide U.S. Senate campaigns. So then the senators would get to Washington, and legislation would come from the House to the Senate, and then they wouldn't have to call the states to consider what to do about this legislation. They'd have to call up their campaign contributors and say, well, how should I vote on this? So I don't know about you, but I'd rather have the states protecting our state rights and personal liberties rather than have some campaign contributors or special interest groups controlling the U.S. Senate the way it is today. So, you know, if the 17th Amendment is not repealed, things are going to continue to go on as is. So I'm suggesting that we go back to the old way, going back to our founders' way of having the states elect our U.S. senators, and hopefully we can control the national government.